The reason you feel overwhelmed by your to-do list isn't because you have too much work, it's because your brain can't distinguish between a minor fire and a major breakthrough. Today, we'll show you the 3-step system for cognitive priority filters to reclaim your focus and master the choices that actually move the needle.
This quote, this right here gets to the absolute heart of the problem, doesn't it? You know that feeling of being constantly busy, just running from one thing to the next, but you get to the end of the day and wonder, what did I actually get done? Well, that's not a failure of willpower. It's not because you're lazy. It's a feature of your brain's ancient wiring clashing with our crazy modern world. So we are going to deconstruct that feeling of overwhelm and swap it out with a real system for making smart choices. By the end of this, you're going to have a protocol to make sure your best, most focused energy is spent only on what truly matters.
So, here's our game plan. First, we're going to diagnose the enemy, the urgency trap that's lurking inside your own mind. Then, step by step, we'll build our defense with 3 really powerful cognitive filters that are designed to protect your focus. And finally, we'll get to the good part, the incredible neurological payoff, achieving a state of effortless, deep focus.
Okay, before we can even think about building a solution, we have to really get what the problem is, right down to the neurological level. That feeling of being busy but not productive, that's not on you. It's a biological default. There is a battle for your attention happening inside your mind every single second, and right now, the wrong side is probably winning.
So picture this. Inside your brain, there's this constant tug of war for control. On one side, you've got your prefrontal cortex, the PFC. Think of this as the brilliant CEO of your brain, your long-term strategist. It handles the big picture stuff, complex planning, and making sure your actions line up with your real goals. It's the part of you that wants to build the business or master that new skill. But on the other side, you've got the amygdala. This is your ancient, hardwired security guard. Its one job for millions of years has been to scan for threats and react instantly. The problem? Its software hasn't been updated for the 21st century. It literally can't tell the difference between a saber-toothed tiger and an email with urgent in the subject line. To the amygdala, they're both immediate threats that you have to deal with right now.
And this internal fight leads us straight to our main villain, the mere urgency effect. This is your brain's default setting to chase what feels urgent over what's actually important. That little notification ping, that Slack message, that tiny task with a deadline of today. Each one is a little treat for your amygdala. It yanks your attention away from the PFC's big plan and gives you this tiny, satisfying hit of dopamine for completing a simple, urgent task. It feels so productive to clear that notification, but it's a cognitive trap that keeps you stuck spinning your wheels in reactive, low-impact work. And living in that reactive state, well, it has some serious hidden costs. Every time you switch from your deep, focused work to answer that quick email, you pay a heavy price, a task-switching penalty. It's not a clean switch. Your brain has to stop, reboot, and then slowly climb back to where it was, wasting so much precious energy. Your working memory, think of it as your brain's RAM, it just gets totally saturated with junk. And over a day, this constant bouncing around just drains your executive function, the very brain power you need for your most important work. All of this leads to a critical state we call decision fatigue. Think of your ability to make good decisions like a battery. Every single choice you make, from what to eat for breakfast to which email to answer first, drains that battery just a little bit. So when you spend your whole morning reacting to a flood of urgent, low-value stuff, you're just torching your battery on the small things. By the time you finally get to your most important strategic work in the afternoon, your cognitive battery is in the red. Your ability to think clearly, to be creative, is shot. You're just not working at full power.
Okay, so now that we know the enemy, let's build our first line of defense. This is the Yield Audit. This filter is all about forcing your strategic PFC, the CEO, to take back control from your reactive amygdala. It makes you stop looking at your work as just one giant pile and start separating it into 2 completely different categories: work that just keeps things going versus work that actually moves the needle.
And at the heart of this whole audit is one powerful question you have to ask yourself for every big task on your list. Does this have 10x potential? Now, this isn't about literal math, of course. It's a mental model. It's a lens that forces you to see the difference between just inching forward and making a giant leap. It's the question that helps you find the real leverage points, the few things you can do that create a huge amount of impact and make dozens of other tasks totally irrelevant.
And this creates 2 very clear buckets for your work. Over here, you have maintenance tasks. Answering routine emails, sitting in status meetings, filing reports. This stuff is necessary. It keeps the lights on, but it will never, ever be a game changer. Then over here, you have leverage tasks, designing that new automated system, learning a skill that makes you twice as effective, building a key partnership. These are the things your inner CEO knows are most important. The goal isn't to eliminate maintenance. The goal is to consciously protect your best hours, your freshest, most energized brain power, exclusively for leverage tasks. All right, our second filter is designed to fight decision fatigue head-on. We call it the reversibility test, and it's based on a really simple but powerful idea. Not all decisions are created equal. Wasting an hour of your best mental energy deciding on a presentation title drains the same amount of battery as spending an hour on a massive strategic choice. This filter puts a stop to that.
The framework for this is beautifully simple. Imagine every decision as a door. One-way doors are the big ones. They're consequential, and once you walk through, it's almost impossible to go back. Think hiring a key person, launching a new product, a huge financial commitment. These deserve slow, careful thought. These are for your PFC. But you know what? Most of our daily decisions are actually two-way doors. You can walk through, and if you don't like what you see, you can just walk right back out. No big deal. Choosing a piece of software to try, picking a headline for an article, setting the agenda for a meeting, these are low stakes and easily changed. And here's the kicker. The vast majority of your choices, we're talking about 80%, are two-way doors. The huge mistake we all make is treating every single two-way door like it's a one-way door. We agonize over them. We overthink. We get stuck in analysis paralysis over stuff that just doesn't really matter in the long run. By just identifying that 80% of choices that are reversible, you free up a massive amount of mental energy and save it for the critical 20% that will actually shape your future.
And here is the simple, actionable rule that makes this filter so powerful. For any decision you identify as a two-way door, give yourself a strict time limit, 60 seconds. That's it. Make the best choice you can with what you know and move on. This isn't about being reckless, it's about being ruthless with your time and energy. It short-circuits that mental overheating that happens when you get stuck trying to perfectly optimize a low-stakes outcome. It's all about building momentum.
So at the end of the day, making quick choices on these reversible things is a strategic act of energy conservation. You are consciously choosing to save your best thinking, your deepest focus, and your highest quality decision-making for the few choices that really count. It completely reframes what it means to be a good decision-maker. It's not about being right 100% of the time on everything. It's about being incredibly right on the things that truly matter. Our final filter, and honestly, this might be the most powerful one. If the first two filters help you organize the work that's already on your plate, the focus gate acts like a fortress wall. It prevents low-value work from ever getting on your plate in the first place. Think of it as the bouncer at the door of your attention.
You've heard this before, but it's a fundamental neurological truth. When your brain is juggling 10 different top priorities, it can't give enough resources to any of them. You create all these open tabs in your mind, each one draining a little bit of your working memory and creating this background hum of stress. To get to that elite level of performance, you have to be brutally, strategically selective about what you say yes to.
And the solution is to define your essential three. These are the three and only three major goals you are committed to achieving in a given period, say a quarter. This list isn't just a guide, it becomes your gatekeeper. For every new opportunity, every meeting request, every quick favor that comes your way, you run it through a simple test. Does this directly and significantly help me achieve one of my essential three? If the answer isn't an immediate, obvious yes, then the default answer has to be a respectful no. This isn't about being unhelpful, it's about honoring the commitment you made to your most important work.
So, we've just built this three-part firewall for your mind. We've got a filter for leverage, a filter for decision energy, and a filter to protect your attention. But what's the actual result of all this? What's the payoff? Well, it's not just the cleaner to-do list. It's a fundamental shift in your neurological state.
The ultimate prize for this whole system is achieving a state of what's called cognitive ease. By systematically filtering out all the noise, the false urgency, the low-impact tasks, the agonizing over small decisions, you calm down those frantic signals from your amygdala. Your brain is no longer fighting a war on 10 different fronts. This mental clarity, this feeling of being in control, it creates the perfect neurological conditions for the flow state. You know, that magical zone of peak performance where you're totally immersed, time just flies by, and you do your absolute best work without even trying.
So how do you make this a real daily habit? Let's anchor it with a simple routine. Every morning, do the 10x audit on your to-do list and circle the single most important leverage task for the day. That's your mission. Then, throughout the day, When a reversible choice comes up, start a 60-second timer and just make the call. And finally, before you say yes to any new request, run it past your Essential 3 gatekeeper. This simple practice turns this whole idea from a theory into your daily operating system.
In the end, high performance isn't about brute force or willpower or working longer hours. It's about intelligent design. It's about realizing that your focus and your decision-making power are your most valuable assets, and you have to protect them. Your success isn't defined by how much you do, but by the strategic precision of what you choose to do. Productivity isn't about doing more. It's about mastering systems that make focus effortless.